that you can tell. Or they have that.
Pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Has everybody had an opportunity to go over the minutes from last month? If so, does anybody have any questions, corrections, or comments about it? If not, I will take a motion to approve them for the secretary to file them.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Greg, second by Deb. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. Go into public comment. Brandon, why don't you lead us off? You're on there right now.
May I say something for a sec?
Absolutely. Hold on a second, Brandon. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say for the record.
Hold on one second. I was asked to pass this down.
I read Todd's email, okay? First of all, I guess I should tell you who I am, just the Borough council member. But anyway, I read Todd's email, okay? And I said, it sounded like you're gonna vote on that letter that went out, okay? And this is my response to it. For the record, I do not agree with the letter that was sent out to the borough residents of 7 Rooms. If the borough council takes a vote on this letter, I am letting the council know that I will be voting against that matter, and I won't vote for it.
You're referring to the letter that was attached to the newsletter?
Yeah, because
And, okay, and just a question while we're on the subject. When that letter was read, council was asked if there was any comments.
We did not vote.
No, I didn't say we were, Deb. I didn't say we did. I said, council was asked if there was any comments or problems with it. I never said it was voted. So do you have problems with it?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't agree.
What are they? The whole letter?
Yes, the whole letter to me, and I'm being honest, that to me was propaganda, and it was to undermine my re-election, Brandon's, Jessica, and Sean's, that I don't agree with. And I'm being honest, somebody called me and told me they weren't even sure they were going to vote tomorrow because they said that was propaganda. They did not approve of that either.
Okay,
That was not right.
so when I asked if there was any problem with the letter, you have a problem with the whole letter?
Yeah.
I want to understand. Okay.
The whole letter, that should have, in other words, that should have never went out to the residents of 7 Rooms. Never should have been ever went out. And I told that lady that, because she was upset. She said, I don't know if I'm even gonna vote tomorrow. And I told her, I said, you need to vote, you need to have your voice heard. And she said, well, after that letter, and I told her flat out, I said, that letter should have never, ever went out.
Okay.
Never. None
Do
of
you
them.
want to go into any specifics of the problems that you have with the letter?
No.
Okay.
I'm just telling
Okay.
you, I don't agree.
Is there anything else before we go into public comment? All right, Brandon, go ahead.
State my name.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brandon Brenneman, 81 Main Street. All right, I had a whole list of things I sent you. What would you like to go over? The summaries maybe, or?
I read everything, whatever.
Okay.
Or I read everything that was sent.
Well, I'll just make it, brief on the summaries then and stuff, if everybody got a chance to read it. We did have a preliminary recreation meeting to see if it was worth having, a local borough recreation meeting. I think, enough people that showed up was, happy. They were willing to be there. They were willing to come give good ideas. They were willing to think that it's something that we would like to continue doing. I don't know. I guess the question is, do we need to have the borough council, approve the fact that we have one, or is it something we can have privately in town, or what's the best way do you think should we go about this, or I really don't know, or do you want to hear the whole, just say
Is there
what
any
happened?
comments from council on how they would feel
Yeah.
the best way to go about it?
I guess the biggest thing is always money. How's the money going to happen?
And where is the property going to be located for?
I think it's just a recreation committee.
Oh, recreation.
Yeah, committee, not a center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not a center,
Right.
committee.
Gotcha.
So I guess the idea was a handful of citizens would like to be able to help come up with ideas for the town, like a cookout or something, or a community picnic or something like that, where we'd have our own couple people, I guess, that we know we can always go to and call and say, hey, we sent out a flyer asking people their ideas, and looks like a lot of them want to have a special picnic on whatever day or something. Would the town be okay with it? Would not that? Like I said, all the ideas like youth dances, community movie night, community picnics, perhaps a town carnival, train ride picnics like the one time that North Central came over and we had that awesome train picnic. I was talking to, I forget the lady's name right offhand, but she said that's a possibility from North Central Railroad to maybe do that again. Even an ice cream extravaganza, since we had ice cream in the town, stuff like that. So this has been brought up a couple times, about having this committee. So we had, thanks to Todd for letting us borrow the room here, we actually sat down and a few members of the town sat down to talk about it, and we like it. So I guess the question is, would you guys like it to have it around, and would it be something feasible for council to be a part of, invest their time or possibly maybe the resources of this town into?
I mean, I don't really know what you're looking for as far as just saying you have a recreation committee. You're looking for funding? Are you looking for funding for which events? Like how much?
Okay, so in other words, it maybe should just be based on a section by section project basis.
Project by project.
Okay.
Probably.
So we would rather just keep it, you guys may just want to keep it private amongst the citizens, and then if we have something, we come to you guys?
My view on this whole, I think majority of Borough Council, and it looks like we will go into this later.
Okay.
Looks like, and going into the budget, looks like we're proposing to join the Spring Grove Regional Recreation,
Right.
which has a bigger say and more experience. Now, that does not oppose an official committee to represent the borough
Right.
in that means, but I think too, we've got to figure out that first before Borough Council appoints any kind of committee or makes any kind of official commitments to more localized, I guess. I'm not saying I totally understand, I agree, like, if we have those people that want to do it, but I think we also, if the goal of Borough Council is to join the Spring Grove Regional Recreation Committee, we should also then be able to infuse both of them together.
Right.
So I think my view is it might be a little early to make any official commitments until we actually join the Spring Grove Regional Recreation Committee, which hopefully we do.
Well, maybe a pro and con would be, and I'd be glad to talk about the Spring Grove too, because I think it's an awesome program. At the same time, that's $3,667. So on the other hand, our local one doesn't cost nothing until we actually have a project. And, the way of funding that, there's many different options, fundraising, asking for donations, stuff like that. So that's just maybe something to throw out there when you guys are deciding.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure, yeah.
on this? Red Lion has a recognized rec commission through the borough. It's right, they have an ordinance. You brought up something that I think is important to understand, fundraising.
Mhm.
If you're gonna do fundraising, you have two choices.
Okay.
You form your own 501c3 organization, have it as a private foundation to get fundraising.
Mhm.
Or it can be recognized by the borough.
Okay.
The borough, that way people would make checks payable to Seven Valley's Borough. Because if you're just gonna set something up, you're gonna have trouble getting money. If you want it, somebody's not gonna write a check payable to you for recreation.
Right,
They're
yeah.
gonna wanna make it out to either Seven
Establishment.
Valley's Rec Foundation or Seven Valley's Borough or something like that. If you wanna move forward with this, I can scan and email you a copy of what Red Line has, just as something to get started with on paper. It may not necessarily be what you want. The other option would be forming a private organization. What Roars does that too,
Yes.
don't they?
Yeah.
How is that done?
They formed their own private 501c3 in the bylaws. They got their entire board of directors together and they started funding entirely on their own.
Okay.
They go to the borough sometimes with events. They partner with the borough on different events.
Mhm.
We have funding that goes back and forth on that.
So they're like their own private
Yes,
entity there.
completely independent
Okay.
organization.
So they carry their own liability insurance and
Yes.
also.
Everything is completely 100% independent from the borough.
Okay, awesome.
Have you talked to the fire company, because they have always been the source of the events before.
Right.
As far as Easter egg hunts and Christmas and Santa and
Right.
food trucks.
I have been in contact with Miss Amy Howdy Shell a couple times via phone and text. Our schedules don't always meet, so it's been a slow process talking with her. But yes, she is on my list, and she also did would like to kept update on what we were doing with this because she thought it was an idea that she'd be interested in as well. The local recreation committee. So
Because I think they might have more events if they had more volunteers, if you could get a volunteer force
Right.
for same-day events.
that sounded like it was the biggest thing the whole way around was volunteers, and you're right. I think there's some people volunteer over here that don't realize they need volunteers over there. So I know there's more of a communication going forward with the town that I'm hoping maybe after tomorrow more people be open to talking with each other. But yeah, I would love to have more rapport with the fire department because I think they offer many great ideas and had many great ideas for the last X number of years. So yeah, moving forward, I'm trying to reach out to them, and hopefully they'll reach out to me as well.
And you also have a land.
Right, they have the land available. That's correct. Yep. So yeah, hopefully, moving forward, more and more people see there's good things happening. We'll jump all together. So yeah, I appreciate you asking about that. So it's just something we're gonna put on the back burner and bring up later, I guess. See what's going on.
Any comments?
Again, my
Okay.
main concern is you have structure. You
Mhm.
must have some type of an official recognized organization regardless
Okay.
of which way you decide to go.
Well, I was hoping not to decide so much myself. This came up a couple months ago, and I don't remember which one comment, and it was said about, go ahead and try to get some people together and see if it's feasible. That's what this preliminary meeting was. So I'm telling you, it looks like it may be feasible. Now I'm kind of presenting it back to council, whatever you guys, think is
Well,
best.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about, there was talk about liability.
Okay,
So I don't know who's carrying insurance, what we're getting into. My thing is funding
Okay.
is budgeting,
right.
just like everything else.
So I guess where it stands right now, I threw it back to you guys is, yes, seems to be some interest, and there sounds like a handful of volunteers that are willing to help, with the local Seven Valleys Borough Rec Committee. So I guess it's back to you if you guys think it's not feasible, that if the citizens want to do it, like they said, we have to take care of it ourselves, get our stuff together. Or if you guys think, hey, this may be a more cost-effective way of doing things, maybe not. I don't, like you said, there's a lot more questions. I'm just telling you and letting you know, it looks like it might be feasible.
With help.
With help.
With help.
Yeah, with help with the
As
committee and
far as the
volunteers. Yeah,
and
volunteers.
stuff. Okay.
So,
And I know when we first brought that up too, I don't think that we were well on board with the rec over at Spring Grove. either.
right, yeah, that
came later,
came up
too,
like a
so,
month or something
yeah,
later,
so
yeah.
We found that she has a lot of resources too.
Oh, she has a lot of
She's-
resources.
so,
I guess we'll just slide into that one real quick.
Yeah, we'll see how.
Because we did have a nice sit down. I was hoping more people from the town would have came, but we did have a really good talk with Kate King. Mr. Stiles brought up some good points about what they have because you were aware of some of the programs they have. I like it, but at the same time, like you, I'm cost conscious, and that's why at the bottom of my thing, I thought if looking at some of the online comments about the whole rec thing with Spring Grove and the cost. I get it. Maybe there's not enough people in this town that really appreciate what this might be. Maybe they need to look at it a little bit more before we spend the money. Or maybe there's people like me. I already said if this is something that the borough would like to consider asking the citizens first, then maybe some of us be willing to pledge some money towards it. Because only if like I said, if 300 people give $12.25, it pays for it. That's not that much as a donation thing. And I already pledged $100 towards it. On the same note of 30 people, that would be probably how many people that would really utilize that, just guessing. If they all gave $100, we're up there. We're almost getting there. So, just a thought to share the idea, maybe throw it back to the town and see what they say first. Maybe they don't want to spend the money on something 7/8 of the town's not going to use. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there as a comment, a thought pattern. But like I said, I'm willing, and I put it publicly, I'm willing to pledge $100 to this. So even if you guys did go through it and you guys want the $100, it's still, it's still mine to give to you guys for towards that, because I think it is a good benefit to the town.
I think just in general too, on top of that, if we join that and she is able to secure us, say, $100,000 grant,
Mhm.
$3,600 in taxpayer money is well spent when we are.
I agree. I
And
completely agree.
I think
with
she
you.
has the resources to do that.
Right.
And expand on what some of the things that like you and other people in the borough would like to do too.
I absolutely agree with you 100% on that. All I was saying is I think $3,600 is a lot of money just to say, let's go ahead and do it without maybe asking the people first. That's just an opinion. Take it for a grain of salt, whatever you'd like to on that. Yeah, I guess any more on that?
No,
Okay.
Does
Go ahead.
joining that like yearly, is that every year? Like you renew that every year? So if we be in that for a year and see how everything goes, see if it runs smooth, it might answer a lot of the questions, like you said, about liability on things, what we have to cover to people that want to get involved in it on a committee like that.
Right.
They would kind of maybe learn a little bit more of running something like that
Mhm.
rather than just going out on their own and just saying, start from scratch here. She might really be able to jumpstart something like that for Seven Valleys. And then the following year, maybe go on our own, that we can say, this is what worked for us last year. And now we're able to do it on our own. But I believe they do offer what I heard her say here, a lot of insight on what you got to do to get this started. Like, okay, we're all going to get pushed in a little bit of money, and we're going to have a carnival, and we're going to have, the food trucks and stuff, like you said about volunteers.
Yeah.
They're already established over there. There's people that are already in line to get out there and do the legwork for that.
Well, her comment was the same problem everywhere. Apparently volunteers is hard to come by, so.
10% of the people do 100% of the work.
Yeah, so. But yeah, like I said, it's up to you guys. I just presenting what I found.
Yep.
So the town knows what's going on, that's all.
Mike, just to clarify, you had a chance to get that agreement. Is it a year-to-year agreement?
I honestly didn't look it over very much until you guys decided if you were looking in that direction, I was glad to do it. I think there was an opt-out provision in there. I'm not sure what the terms were.
So while we're have a dialogue here, if we would want to move forward during our reorganization in January and form a rec committee, would there need an ordinance for that, just for a rec committee for
You
the
could,
borough?
if you want to just have a recognized committee to handle recreation, I think you could simply do it as a committee assignment, similar to what you do with your other committees.
Mhm.
Keep in mind, though, committees are only members of Borough Council.
Right.
If you would want to form, again, what Red Line did, they formed a Recreation Commission. I think they put in there either up to 7 to 9 members. There were some provisions in there that one member comes from the school district, one member came from what was then the youth center. And that evolved over time where, of course, you couldn't get things. So you can do it to whatever works for the borough. But it should be something formalized either by ordinance or by resolution if you're going to do it as a governmental entity. If it's going to be private nonprofit, such as similar to the Roars thing, and have their own insurance, you just have to have a formal structure so that you know where the money's going to come and go from.
Understood. Thank you.
And I was talking to a person in another borough at this meeting that we had, and they have what they call a volunteer committee. And they have volunteers from different organizations throughout the town. And then when the borough or the fire company wants to have an event, they call on those volunteers to come help. So the volunteers aren't necessarily planning the meeting, the activities. They have input into them, but they have I guess it's like a workforce, which I thought was a great idea too.
Oh, yeah, it's a very good idea. That seems to be the biggest problem, people getting involved. So hopefully maybe going forward, the town will start seeing there's nice things happening and they want to be part of it as well.
Nobody wants to do anything for free.
So, Are we done with that subject? On to the next one, I guess?
Everybody up there?
Okay. The sewer authority thing, I got the chance to go to that and a couple other citizens joined me. It was very educational. And I know you've tried to explain things, you really have, you tried to explain things to me, but for some reason I just didn't grasp everything you were saying. And somehow, with them talking, it kind of explained a few things. And I shared that in my summary, and it seemed like a lot of people in town appreciated that summary because I did share it publicly as well. I guess the conclusion, does everyone actually get to read it or? Okay. So I guess the conclusion is no matter how we look at things, at some point in time, possibly very soon, there's going to be some money spent. Money's going to be spent on either rebuilding antiquated pumps that have been rebuilt many times. Their guys are going to have to pay to replace them somehow or something. They're worried about doing that. It's going to be too big of a pump that they may have to put a substation in halfway through because apparently it's like a 2.5 mile or somewhere in that ballpark force feed line the whole way from our town over to the next pumping station outside of our borough. It's an elaborate system. They gave me the maps and everything to look at. It's wonderful, engineered. It's big. So the question is, if they're going to spend that much money, and we have maybe a little bit of time because we're locked up in mitigation anyway, maybe just to look at some other different options. Possibly look at maybe having our own little plant in town or something. I noticed this year, Josh Shapiro, our governor, issued like 16 point something million dollars throughout Pennsylvania to different municipalities and counties to, give money to water and treatment facilities to upgrade or to install. So it would be a thought that if money has to be spent anyway, maybe we should look into having ours. And the reason for that, my suggestion to do something like that would be that we would have our own sewer authority. We'd have a lot more control over the finances and whatnot. I've read a ton of law, and maybe I don't know what I'm reading, but it looked like for some reason, whatever had happened, we wound up not having our own people on that sewer board when we tied in or when it was set up. Maybe at the time it didn't need to be, maybe it still doesn't need to be, but it looked like it might have been an option from what I'm reading. So the thought is if we could have more control in town over that, we'd have more of a clear rapport maybe with the town on, hey, this is why things are costing the way they are. And I just think it's a really good idea. The other problem is, and you've said this many times, is called an INI, which is apparently there's a lot, every time it rains, there is a ton of water flooding our system here in town. And it's overwhelming our poor pump house. And there's nothing that can really be done as a legal standpoint. They've done all their testing. They've concluded that it's not seeping into the pipes. It's being put into the pipes during a rainstorm. And I agree with their conclusion. It's probably sub pumps. Now, I made a suggestion, and I know Mr. Snyder, the certified plumber here in town, also offered to, so you know that we might be willing to walk around and do this. I know council can't have a say in this, legally be involved or whatnot, but I would like to let you know that we'd like to maybe let the town know more explicit, in detail what's going on, what's happening, and no matter what they do to replace those, we still have that issue, and that needs to be resolved, and that we're willing at free cost, on my part, to at least go inspect. I know Mr. Snyder said he'd do a free inspection and free quote with discounted rates if anything needed to be changed. I think it'd be a good benefit to the town. I didn't know what you guys' thoughts or comments on that would be, and if you had any other questions from the meeting.
No, my only comment is when they did the smoke testing
Right.
7 years ago, something like that, is I think that's kind of what the town was told was it's a sump pump problem.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, real quick. So this has been something that's been going on for like 5 to 7 years.
Probably closer to 30.
Yes.
I just don't understand why this wasn't brought to our attention.
We don't
Sooner.
own the sewer plant. There are newsletters.
We've never.
No, I know for a fact that they actually came to my house and said I had a sub pump hooked to mine at one point, and I had to let them in and look at it, and they said, no, you don't. And I don't know, that's been like maybe 3 years ago, I think.
Okay, I was thinking 5.
It might have been that.
Yeah.
I know it's been a while. and all like this. And so I'm not the only one that had the house inspected, you know, I know they went around the different ones, because when he came, he goes, well, I can fit you in this time frame and all like that. So he gave me a time frame, so it wasn't just my house.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, from what they told me, they weren't allowed anybody's house.
I didn't know they went to anybody's house. I
Yeah.
thought they said they couldn't go in there.
That's what they told me, they didn't go anybody's house because they weren't allowed to legally, so.
That's what I thought, Walt, and our guy
So-
said that.
I think it was up to the homeowner to give him
Yeah.
permission.
Okay.
They couldn't go, they couldn't force it.
Right. And the only thing they apparently could do legally was that when a house sells, it gets inspected, but my point to them was that's gonna take an eternity, and he agreed with that, so that doesn't really fix the problem. So hopefully stating here maybe today as well, if maybe it gets through, is that if you do have a sump pump, you know, let us know, we'll try to fix it and help you out without it being an extreme cost to the homeowner, to help out the borough. Offering that, and so was Mr. Snyder, so.
Yes, absolutely, Deb.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, when they came to my house, my cap on the outside fell off,
Mhm.
and I called, and they came and looked at mine, and they said, you're fine. All I had to do was go to Lowe's and get a new cap and put on.
Yeah, and there was multiple around town that I think they were able to make people or have people fix them. I think the post office was an issue a couple times. I think it was hit by a plow or something.
Oh, that might be, yeah, they do that sometimes. So that's where that's at. What else? Oh, a question. And Todd gave me copies of it. It was awesome. The copies of the sewer authority to the borough, could they be something posted on the borough website as well?
I thought we agreed that we were gonna do that.
Yeah, I thought we did last month.
Yeah.
They're not on yet. But we
No,
did.
that was the
Treasurer's.
treasurer's report. But this is the sewer authority's minutes that's mailed or sent down to the, I think it would be something beneficial that way the people can see, hey, what's going on with the sewer thing too. Trying to get more open reportness or transparency with them, because it seems to be an issue, like nobody seems to know anything about the sewer half the time when we go talking around. And so I just thought it was a good suggestion. I thought I'd make it to you guys. I did see, he did put the treasurer's report on the last minutes, and I got those. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, can I just make a couple of comments? First of all, thanks for going to the meeting.
Oh,
The more you want to do, the better, because I think if residents of Seven Valleys go there, it shows that you're interested. I want to just make a couple of comments. You said that we're in litigation. We're not. We're in mediation.
should I say it? I
And I just
apologize. I thought it said
no, no,
mitigation.
They're different, and it's kind of like the tissue Kleenex thing, that sometimes the thought are not synonymous,
Okay.
but it's not. And you kind of hit the nail on the head with the problem.
Mhm.
The collection system, but I want you to make sure everybody understands, the sewer collection system within the borough is owned by the sewer authority,
Mhm.
okay? Now, this happened before I got here. I've been here about 20 years. I think this was done in the late 90s. I suspect there was a feasibility study done when Seven Valleys had to go with sewer, because what originally happened was you had Seven Valleys, Jacobus, and Loganville going in with Springfield Township to form this sewer authority. And you're absolutely correct. Why it was decided that there were no representatives from the boroughs on the authority board, I don't know. It's set up that there's 5 members. They're all appointed by the Springfield Township Supervisor.
Yeah, they told me that.
And so this collection system takes everything to the Church Street pumping station. Now, there's 2 ways the sewer goes. Gravity, which is downhill, and force pump uphill.
Right.
So everything goes gravity to Church Street, to my knowledge. That's the first pump house. From Church Street, it goes the whole way over to the Valley pump station there, right by the old horse rescue in Jacobus.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the sewer authority. And I can remember when Lynn Krebs was still here and was still president of council. He made some comments to me about that putting that together was an engineering marvel.
It was.
And I never understood whether he was commenting, saying C.S. Davidson did a good job or he wasn't. But you're sitting here, if you're either here, you got to pump uphill to go to North Cadorus, you got to pump uphill to go to Jefferson, or you got to go pump uphill to go that way.
And you got to pump uphill to go to Glen Rock as well. So
Well, Glen Rock, yeah, you'd have a long way to go.
it's a long way to Glen
Too
Rock. So
far to Glen Rock. That's
Yeah,
one of my
so
clients, so.
yeah.
But if you're looking at the feasibility of doing something yourself,
Mhm.
number one, you'd have to have your own sewer authority here,
Right,
and you'd have to essentially buy the infrastructure
okay,
from the Springfield Sewer Authority and look for land and build your own plant.
right.
I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but you'd really have to do a cost benefit analysis to see whether or not it's gonna be better for you.
And that's true, but my point for bringing it up was that there's a better chance to get state help and grants than it would be than try to get that to cover the cost of repairing what we have in
And
place.
just to hit on his point again, I don't really know how to say it differently than you did, is they would have to be willing to sell some of the infrastructure. You could get $100 million down here
Right,
to build a
so
plant.
what you're telling me is we
You
can't
to
have our
they
own?
They have credits at their sewer plant.
Right,
I don't know exactly how to explain it other than they have so many credits, we would need credits. The state doesn't just make more credits
Okay,
because they don't like new plants.
you're talking about the nitrogen phosphorus issue.
Right.
Okay. So one of the things, and that reminded me of something, one of the reasons that they probably went with a regional plant was at the time you had what were called H2O grants in the state of Pennsylvania. And it was much more attractive to get those grants to help finance part of the project if you had an intermunicipal project that just weren't doing it themselves. So that's probably part of the reason that they looked at it. Plus the fact that I don't think Seven Valley's wanted to do their own treatment plant and their own plant operation.
yeah,
The smallest municipality that I know of, and I'm not saying this is exclusive, but the smallest one that I know of, similar in size that had their own actual treatment plant was Felton.
okay,
Felton's turned into a financial issue, and within the last couple of years, they actually sold the sewer plant to a water company.
okay. Well, everybody seems to be selling to the water company, so I have my own comments on that at this time, but.
Well, it's very attractive for a lot of reasons, and there's down problems too. But these are all the things that would really have to be looked into to decide on a different alternative.
Well, I didn't say it was easy. I just said I think we have the time and maybe right now to possibly look at other avenues as well, is all I was bringing up. Because, I get that maybe what if they didn't sell it? We'd have to dig up and put our own pipes in and our own pumping houses. I get that. I get there's a lot of what ifs. But at the same time, there's always, we didn't even try to look at another option, and maybe we should, so I'm suggesting. I've heard the history of 30 years ago, we hooked up and had Springfield Township. I've heard 40 years ago, we had the chance of going with the elementary school at the time, apparently pumping house or sanitation unit they had there, and that there was possible state grants for that. I mean, and I heard there was at one time, apparently even longer than that, we had a chance of hooking up with Glen Rock. So, and like you said, that is a long haul.
Well, I can tell you, I've been in Glen Rock since '99. That never came up.
This
It
was like way
before that.
It was way before that. It was a
I
long
do
time
know,
ago.
my father was on the Borough Council at that time.
So like I said, there's a lot of history. I get that. There's a lot of, at the time, they don't think it seemed feasible. So all I'm just throwing out there, let's maybe look ahead for the next 20, 30 years, because that's apparently what it cost. This is how long it lasts, so to speak. It's how long it lasts. So just a thought that, there's other options. I know there's new plants, and I know the state has laws like locking it down, but I know they have the incendiary plants and stuff for sewer and sanitary waste out there. Nevada pretty much just has it everywhere, but in Pennsylvania, they lock it down with a lot of laws. So yeah, there's just other options is all I'm saying. Instead of we're stuck with them and we don't have a say at all is all. I really would love to find a way to figure out how to get two people from Seven Valleys Borough to be on their authority. I don't think there is without them saying okay, and I don't know if they would or not.
There'd have to be an amendment to the intermunicipal agreement
Okay.
between all the municipalities.
It's my understanding, when there is an opening on the board, that's anybody that's part of the municipal sewer authority can be appointed to that, no matter where they live, correct? You don't have to live in Springfield Township. So if a borough resident wanted to be a part of that, they could submit a letter of interest and they could be appointed, correct?
I don't think this is
No.
a township.
You have to be a township resident. Well, okay, I did not realize that.
I think that's the case. Who's the guy, he was on the authority. And he had property with Seven Valleys. He used to own the Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah.
They're nice to him. He was on the sewer authority, so he wasn't from Seven Valleys. But he was on the
And I was told by the sewer authority, the real last person to keep a real tight eye on them was Mr. Krebs. He said since then it's been crickets when it comes to the other municipalities, coming to the meetings, so to speak. And so I just thought, I'm just saying what they stated, But, right, I wasn't stating that nobody cared, nobody went to the meetings. I was just stating I would love to see, and maybe if you think there's a way, or even if you think it's feasible, that get all the boroughs and municipalities involved and somehow get a couple of us appointed on the authority, amend the agreement or whatever. I think it would benefit all the municipalities. I really do. Then it'd be a little bit more quicker to know what's going on before we wind up in what you're dealing with right now. So these are just ideas I had. Maybe I'm not educated enough to make them, but I thought it'd be worth.
No, don't say that.
Okay, but I just wanted to share an idea to help the town because I saw that and I was like, wow. And when I asked first question I asked him, I said, who's our appointed authority to you guys? They go, well, there is none. We're all Springfield. I'm like, wow, how'd that happen? So, all right, well, that's that subject. Hopefully, maybe it's something we can talk about later because I'd like to see more with the sewer as well. It was the biggest thing that nailed me when I moved down here that I wasn't anticipating. I didn't look at it on the MSL sheet when I came down here because I assumed I knew something, and I didn't. So there's that. Anything else on that, I guess?
I have one thing
Go
about
ahead.
that, and maybe Mike can help me out some there. Let's look at the right now to sewer. The rates are gonna be going up sometime, and I'm sure in the near future. That affects everybody sitting here in this room. Now, I lived in town 2000, and then they said they lowered the sewer fee hookup because of people living in town that were elderly, on low income, and they raised a quarterly bill to a higher rate. Now, it's supposed to be for 20-year term, and then the rates were supposed to level out or even stop.
Well, and again, remember, you basically have two components to your rates.
Mhm.
Your treatment and transportation, which is the cost of getting the brown stuff from your toilet to the sewer plant,
Right.
everything in between. Problems with the pump station, problems with the lines, things like that. Second component is debt service. The cost of paying off when the system was originally built and plus improvements that have been made. And this is part of the issues during mediation because they're projecting payoffs of the debt service possibly as early as I believe it was 2026 or 2027. However, then you've got to look at, are there going to be infrastructure improvements that need to be made? Church Street Pump Station, Valley Street Pump Station. Are they going to affect us or are they going to affect the entire system? Remember a number of years ago, they put the centrifuge in to do the dewatering because they had to do that to treat the sewage to get it to be land applied. So, or to the incinerator, one or the other. I don't know that they ever land applied, but there are a lot of factors that go into it. But if the debt service would ever be paid off and there would be no looking at capital improvements, it would be possible the rates would come down.
Is there any way to get a copy of the original contracts and agreements? Because I can't seem to find them. And did you mention that you were? Oh, you did. Okay, so you did mention it. Okay.
I've never, throughout the issues that have been blowing up there, ever been provided with a signed copy of the agreements. There's a lot of unsigned ones, but there should be, and that's part of it. And I was going to bring it up under my report that some of what's going on there is requests for additional information. So
From all of us, apparently.
yeah,
But so that would be something. If there was no signed agreements, how would that work?
well,
Hypothetically.
there's
One
some.
somewhere.
So, of course, there had to be one somewhere. So.
Yeah, there was the original agreement. There was a 2006 modification, and again, most of the agreement had to do with the boroughs as borough entities guaranteeing the debt. In other words, when the sewer authority was formed, the debt was issued to the sewer authority. The sewer authority is charging rates to pay the debt off. In order to get better interest rates and better costs from the banks, the boroughs all agreed to guarantee the debt. Just like you buy a house, you get a relative, co-sign or guarantee your debt. That way, if for any reason the sewer authority would default their payments, the boroughs would pay. So that was the main reason for the original intermunicipal agreement.
Are you aware of what the year was, whether it was a 20-year or 30-year agreement for the debt? Whatever it
Well,
is.
probably when it was originally done, it was 30 years.
Okay.
Most municipal borrowings at that time in the late 90s was for 30-year term.
Okay, because everybody had the assumption, they didn't know, but they had the assumption that everybody thought it was a 20-year loan, and by that rights, we should be off of it by now.
Well, it could have been, but when they refunded in 2006, to put in the dewatering centrifuge or whatever it was, they
Okay.
probably extended it out.
Oh, that would make sense.
Probably got a better rate because they had to borrow more money to put the improvements in, and then I think they probably extended it out.
That's awesome. I'm glad I didn't hear that part about the 2006. So I did actually reach out to Stan, the chairman, and he did say that I asked about visiting the plant and learning more about it. So he's going to sometime late November, early December, he's going to take me and possibly a friend or two through just to see how that all works. So yeah, the more I'm educated, the more I'm going to, if it's all right with everybody else, I'm going to tell the town, this is how it all works. That way they know that it's not just people sitting around, wearing ties and making up dumb ideas. So just, how it is. Everyone just wants to accuse the authority or the government on stuff. And I'm trying to look into it for them and explain everything for them. I know you've tried sometimes at these meetings, and I just didn't understand what you're talking about.
The more you're exposed to it, the more you understand.
Yep, and the more I would like to, share it in layman's terms to other people. So, okay, that was good talk. Playground equipment. If anybody wanting to hear about that, we did get a chance to measure the park area to see what size playground set we could put in. I think some sets were actually picked. I have not had a chance for like a week or so to even look at what was going on with that. So, far as I know, we're at this point of picking a handful of sets, getting a ballpark number, going back with Mr. Phobes, and look for funding and grants. He has apparently a plethora of people that he has a list that we'll be going through on that. He did ask to just check with the borough to see if they'd be willing or interested about considering any funding for that. So I'm just throwing it out there, just asking you guys.
So he's filing for grants?
He
Or
has
is he
people.
going to people? Okay.
He's going to people first.
Okay.
Because he has a list of people that apparently have money and they give that out for things like parks a lot. That's what they do. That's kind of their charity to the world. So that's our first avenue. But if that only gets us halfway or it doesn't work at all, of course, we have to make up the bulk of it with whether we file the grants. What he listed them. I don't remember all the names of where we go through and which ones are better to start with because they're easier, or the ones that they're once a year. You only have like once a year to file a grant for with the state DCNR. I think it was one of them. And so, but he did tell me that it was nice to at least ask to see, what's the worst you can say is no, if the borough itself would be interested at all with any funding for that playground set.
And my question is,
What is it?
are we looking at, obviously not $50, are we looking at
Right.
$20,000 or like,
Well,
is there any kind of ballpark?
So here's the question is if we come back and we don't get full money for that, is something you'd be interested in hearing, saying, hey, we have a leftover debt. Would you guys want to donate nothing to it? Would that be something I could do?
That would be a great question. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we could, I could entertain it if I had the number. And
Okay.
my second question would be, it's on park property, correct?
Yes.
So maintenance, maintaining.
It's all the county parks and Trail Authority. That was why, one of the biggest reasons why when I started this whole goal of wanting a playground, thought that would be a dandy of a spot because knowing I've been in maintenance 20 some years, I know that's something to consider. And I know it's not cheap. I know that. We're looking at maybe anywhere from a $50,000 to $70,000 playground set. We already have the volunteers donated to help assemble it. Of course, he's going to get his maintenance guys in to take care of the ground, dig the holes, put the cement posts where they need to be. But assembling the actual structure, we're doing a lot of volunteers on that. I don't think we're actually paying anybody else, another company to come in and do that. So like I said, there's no numbers now.
Right.
but there will be numbers in the next 2-3 months. So if it's something I can come back and say, hey, we're short $10,000. Is there 3,000 to 5,000 the borough would be interested? Something like that. Would it be okay for me to come back and let you guys know, and would you even consider it? Because if you're going
I
to
say absolutely, unless somebody else
Okay.
would outvote me on that, absolutely.
okay, 'Cause I'm not saying you said you're going to do it. No, I get that. I'm just asking, can I come back and present this? Because I think it'd be.
Problems with that? Anybody?
All right, wonderful. Thank you for that. There is going to be a Christmas tree lighting service for the town. Thank you to Pastor Bill over at the Liberty Church Fellowship. And that'll be December 2nd. I believe it's at 6:30 it starts. I'll double check with all that later. Throwing it out there. Apparently one of the things we're looking for right now is a lift. It's apparently going to be close to a 30-foot tree. So it's pretty true. So if anybody knows or has access to a cherry picker lift, or know anybody that would be willing to donate or at a discounted rate, it would be great. If not, we have people that said they would pay to rent it, and some businesses in town, but we wanted to go through the other rate too. I was given a name for go over here to the McGrew Company and to see if they would be willing, because they own Bobcat of York. So would like to throw it out there publicly. If anybody knows, please, y'all got my number. Give me a holler or an email.
30 foot. Is that what you said? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we assumed it's someone had one of them apps where they can measure something. They said the tree is 30 feet tall. So. So, but it's just cool that is going to happen, and apparently there will be some small service. There's ciders provided, warm cider. What else did he say? They're going to take care of the Christmas tree lights, they said. There will be singing, caroling, and one of the things I'm hoping to set up is after that ends at like 7:30, asking some of the older people that know there might be shut-ins in town and walk, as long as it's with the sidewalks. I said I don't want to go up Main Street at night, and see if we can go to some of these shut-ins and actually sing for them too. So all that's going on in our town.
So that's going to be a function of the church? The church is doing that?
The church is volunteering the tree and the tree lighting service. So yeah, that's now officially with them. That way we didn't have to wait on anybody else. They just took that and ran with it.
This, by the way, came about from the preliminary rec
Yeah,
committee meeting.
yeah, it was one of the first things that we decided in the preliminary rec, that to see if it was something, can people actually get together and do this town? I wasn't trying to do anything without, authorization, but just, it's showing that people can volunteer in this town and we can get together. So I've been very happy with that. I look forward to it. It's right across the street from my house. So every time I walk outside, I'd love to see that. I can't wait to see that tree lit up. So, but yeah, I would like, if anybody could help with that, I'd really be appreciative of it.
So just, Mike, for liabilities standpoint, this is not a borough function?
No, it's not borough function.
Okay.
It's the church taking on full liability of it. And everybody just walking around of their own free will, singing. So I don't know if there's a liability issue with that, but I've never heard of it with people Christmas caroling. So,
A 30-foot tree has me a little concerned.
right. Well, no, that's why I said we just need help. We have volunteers who are willing to get up and do it. It's just, we don't have the lift to do it personally. So, it's all in good faith and hearts, I guess, but if that's going to be an issue.
Right, then it's a nighttime lighting, so it would be dark when they're decorating.
No, the decoration, so we're going to hopefully have the lift within the next week or two and take care of that during the day. We're just plugging it in at 6:30, So, no, it's not a decoration party, it's the tree lighting service.
I'll check with Larry Garland, he has a look back at his cement factory.
Okay, well, I appreciate your help. You got my number then? Yeah, just give me a call, or if anybody has a call, I'd love to hear from it. So I guess it brings down, we already took care of the right to know request was fulfilled to the best of its ability. The recent misappropriation of our resources, do we want to talk about, or you just want me to shut up and go away?
What do you want? What do you want from us? What do you want different?
Well, maybe here's the best thing.
Yep.
Maybe you guys can explain to me how this process works, because to best of my knowledge, if something's going to be a borough sanctioned document, it has to be put on the agenda prior to the meeting. It has to be deliberated on where people have time for comment and time to think about it. And then it has to be, if not voted on then, it has to be, voted on eventually in the future. So, what is?
So, I mean, would it help you if it got voted on right now and
No,
voted
no,
up or
well,
down?
it's not on the agenda, so how would you do it? To my point.
Well, I think we voted on things that weren't on the agenda before. When we talked.
Can that actually happen? Maybe, that's why I said educate me on how this works.
The issue has been brought up by you in public comment. If you
Okay.
want the Borough Council to take action on it, you can ask them to do it.
Okay,
If you're satisfied that the matter can be resolved otherwise,
okay.
don't do
Well,
it. It's up to
here's
you.
the question. We all know it was the public comments. The man's entitled to his opinion. I do not have a problem with that.
No, that was, if you look back at the minute, if you listen to the recording of that,
I actually watched the video on it, so
and that was done before public comments
that's
started.
correct. I agree with that. I even
Okay.
put that out. But for some reason, it's under the minutes as public comment.
Okay,
That's where,
That was my error for putting it under public
Okay.
comment instead of
Okay.
before.
okay. So it even being before public comment, it's even more so just a list of opinions. It's not a borough agenda at all. Am I correct?
I guess, yeah.
So then why was it attached to and said excerpt of minutes to the newsletter? Is what caused a major confusion in this town.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
How many things that are read or whatever, does council state before they even start to read it, or any council member saying, when we're done with this, if any council objects, speak up?
So I guess it
Right?
begs the question, I
Okay.
don't know.
So it was read.
Okay, it was read, yes.
Okay, it was read, and then the president asked again, is there any borough council that objects to what you just heard?
They were kind of blindsided, weren't they? They weren't quite ready to know that you were coming with that.
You telling me everything that everybody talks about here at a meeting gets it well in advance? They take action.
Well,
on
hopefully
things
they
hear
don't
for-
vote on it right away, that they actually be able to have some time to
Well,
work on it.
I don't know that you have to really think real hard. I mean, the topics were about the allegations and the social media about we're operating at a deficit. How is that a lie? That we clarified that that's not accurate,
Okay,
okay?
so you want
Um,
to, so I'm not trying to, and I'm not going to. I will not deliberate your opinions. You're welcome to them. All I want the town to know that they were the gentleman's opinions and not a borough sanctioned document. Unless you're thinking it is, you're stating it is, and I would like to understand that more, how that works. That's all I'm
I
asking.
believe it was borough council sanctioned because every council member had a chance to speak against it if they wanted to. They had the opportunity to speak against it at the October meeting.
So you don't have
When
to
the
vote on
minutes
it
were
then.
approved. The minutes were approved.
I've
And
asked you a
just for
question.
clarification, it was not a letter that was sent out. It was an excerpt from the approved minutes.
Yeah, it's what it says, excerpt from minutes. It doesn't say, though, it's from the public comments and it's somebody's opinion.
Well, I would suggest to council, since you brought it up here in public comment, and the solicitor, he can tell me if you can do
If
that
I
or
may ask
not,
the
but
solicitor a real
maybe
quick
just take a
question.
vote and
Yeah, you guys are going to do that, and that's fine. I get that. I already anticipate it. I just have a quick question. So they don't have to, as a borough council, vote on something to make it an official document at the time.
This was part of the minutes. My understanding, I was not aware of where this controversy came from because I didn't.
Okay, well, that brings back to what he said.
Mr. Stiles had some things, and my assumption was, and I didn't read them, that those documents were attached to the minutes.
Okay,
If the minutes were approved with those attached, it becomes an official record for the Borough Council of that meeting.
did everybody here know that that's how this works?
Did everybody know that those were going to be attached to the newsletter?
Hold on,
Well,
hold on.
one quick question. You said it was before the public comments.
Hold
even,
on,
so-
that's three questions now
Okay.
before anybody got to answer one.
All right,
Brandon.
go ahead.
All
Go
right?
ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm being really lenient here, and I'm probably 50 minutes into a meeting. All
I
right?
asked you if you want me to shut up and go away.
No, I don't want you to shut up and
Okay.
go away. I want to hear, I don't want anybody to shut up and go away,
All right,
but I want everybody to talk.
go ahead.
All right, and I've told you, I sat down here the other night and told you, I learned
Mhm.
all this as I went through the last 10 or 11 years.
Mhm.
So you asked a question there, and I was getting ready to answer it, and then another question came in, and then you
Sorry,
asked another
I
question.
apologize.
So just time out.
Okay.
All right. I did not know that's how it works. I still don't know if I understand what they're saying. As far
Well, it makes
okay?
two of us.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I know this and know that. I don't. If you look back through the minutes for the last 10 years, I don't know how many times I looked at Mike and said, Mike, does all that sound good to you? Because he sits through a lot more of this than I do. All right. So what is your question? What would you like to see happen with this letter? What would you like to hear?
Okay, I would
to
like
hear? What would you like to
clarity.
hear?
I would like clarity so the town knows
Uh-huh.
that these were his opinions and he's welcome to state them. But that there was no actual vote to make those in a borough sanctioned document.
Okay. That's what you want to hear?
Yeah, I want the town to be clarified. That's where they were asking the questions. They came and asked me, is this official borough sanctioned document? I told them I didn't know, but I did know that it wasn't voted on because I was in that meeting.
I took them as facts. And here's my thing is,
But I don't
feel
agree
like a
with them.
lot of them were rebuttals to questions in public comment from a month before or 2 months before, or stuff going around on the internet. So do you want us to sit here and not respond to anything that's said in public comment?
That's
or
not
said
what I'm
on
saying.
social- Well, no, but where?
But it's
what do you
where it
want us to
was.
do?
It was in public comment. It was in public comment. And that's where it belonged. What they say to the town, this is an excerpt from the minutes, was a big confusion.
That's where they were filed.
That's where they're filed.
That's where they were filed.
So
They
out of
filed
curiosity, not trying to be a jerk here,
I'm not trying to be a jerk either, Brandon.
But
I'm
if I
really
state-
not, I promise you.
but I made a statement in comments a few months ago that I didn't like the way you guys were handling things. And that if you worked with me, I'd give you a 3-day suspension and fire you. Those minutes were approved. Does that mean I get to fire you all? No. That's my point. That the comments belong in the comments. That's where they belong. And they just need to be notified publicly that these were just public comments. You're welcome to them. No, they are not all completely factual. They're half factual in a lot of them.
They aren't.
I'm not going to deliberate this in a public meeting. I'd be glad to sit down and discuss this with anybody on a private setting. But my point is, my comments were that they're in the public comment section. His comments were in the public comment section.
Okay.
So just clarify that, yes, they are an individual's comments, opinions, whatever. That's all I want to state for the record.
They're recorded in the minutes under public comment. If you listen to the recording, as you stated that you did.
I did. I watched the video.
Okay, and the president said before we get started here,
Mhm.
we'll pass the mic, I think it was, down to Bill,
Right.
and he's gonna read a statement.
That's right.
And he
It's his
read
statement.
that.
Yep.
And he read it, and he asked if there's any council member that disagrees. What do you think that meant?
So if nobody saw it coming.
In hindsight,
Even I didn't see it coming.
hindsight is 2020. They should have done it by motion. You're correct.
Okay, so
But hindsight, the past is a past. It's 2020 vision.
is
That's
this
fine,
how
But
all of you look at yourselves? Is this how you feel about how this should be handled in council? Is this really, I mean, was it legal? Maybe it was. I don't know. I'm not going to debate that. But this is how we really feel that a person gets up on council. Right now, if you don't disagree with me, it's official.
But Brandon, it was before public comment. Even when
Well,
he
now
was
you're bringing
finished-
that up. It's before
he
public
was
comment.
He was finished before public comment, and Zach said,
Does anybody
"Is there
have a problem with
anyone
it, or
that
is it just
objects
me?
or whatever?" And then at that point, he said, "Okay, public comment," and that's when public comment began.
So then, if
That's
it's
just-
before public comment, it's an official borough document then.
The document was the minutes.
Okay,
What is put in the minutes and approved by council is up to council.
okay,
And that would be the time you can, when we do a resolution, when we have some sort of an action, if we adopt a police report, if we talk about this, when you incorporate a document by reference into the minutes, it becomes a part of the minutes.
so if anybody wants to liberate or contradict that, they need to do it right then and there before it's
It
approved.
should be done when the minutes are approved at the next meeting. Again, you're talking about a document. The
Mhm.
actual commentary
Mm-hmm.
and documentation, and I'm not trying to split hairs, I'm just making sure I get to your point so everybody understands.
Right,
The minutes themselves, the documents that constitute the minutes,
right.
differ from the audio and the video recordings.
Mhm.
Okay, there's more going on those that show up in the paper minutes. It is incumbent upon the Borough Council, when the minutes are approved, to put down They're approving them as the official record of that meeting.
Okay,
That's the document.
so public can't comment or deliberate on his comments and his statements.
You can make commentary, you can do anything you want to. That's a completely separate issue
Mhm.
than the Borough Council approving what
Right.
happened at the prior meeting.
That right there, where it's being official documentation, and it's, as soon as it's in the minutes, it needs to be a little bit more clear, because I don't think everybody was aware that that would lock down tight, and there was no way to refute afterwards. That's something that might, hopefully, with this meeting, gets a little more clear on. No, I don't agree everything that's in it. I'm not saying they're outright lies. I'm just saying a lot of them are half-truths and your opinions, and that's fine. You're welcome to them, sir. You're welcome to them. Everybody in this town, this country, and this state are welcome to them.
I got
What-
a question, Brandon. You
Go
think
ahead,
it's
sir.
Right that you, all the false accusations that.
Yeah, so you're trying to deliberate.
Wait, let me speak. Okay, you think that was right for all them false accusations to be given to the community?
Okay,
via
go
the
ahead.
website?
Which ones, since that's what you
And
want to talk about? Which ones?
Which ones?
Yes, which ones, please,
Well,
tell
we
me.
got, you got the sheeter.
Now, see, that's what, I do not want to deliberate this man's comments. But you're stating right then that I'm just nothing but a liar, and my father.
You, I said.
Well, that's my point.
Not many comments on there.
That's
that were
why I didn't want to
rebuttal.
deliberate the member.
We were
All I
okay
wanted to
the
do,
rebuttal, but the original facts. were
and
not-
that's fine, but you didn't do it as a borough. You did let this man speak as public comments. You should have put it on the agenda and told everybody this is what we're going to be talking about. That way, the public knew that we needed to have our comments ready to state otherwise or refute it. I'm just saying the way it was handled, I don't agree with whatsoever, and I don't think the townspeople do either.
Okay.
So that stated,
Thank you.
again,
Thank you.
so now if you want me to be quiet, I'll go away.
Yes,
No,
please,
you-
because I
do you
got
have- Do
something.
you have anything else?
I believe that's everything for now, unless somebody wants to bring up any other issues to discuss with me.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Zach.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, you as well.
Hi there, Jessica Vallis, 22 Cherry Street. A couple months ago, I brought up the idea of a little food pantry for the community for our food insecure neighbors. Brandon, in all of his talking to different places, the Freedom Liberty or Liberty Freedom Church said that we can place it on their property and they'll take pretty much control of it, which makes sure that it is under a nonprofit and therefore nobody is liable under the Good Samaritan Act for if any food goes bad. Mark and Donna generously gave us this little cabinet thing. It was like it almost looked like a dollhouse, but in the span of it being out for 2 days, I had about 10 people ask me if it was the food pantry. So they donated that this morning. So thank you for that. But because this is going to be maybe outdoor or exposed to the elements and it was a dollhouse, could I ask council to please contribute maybe like $50 to some outdoor paint and just some general equipment to fix it up? So that way we can actually put it out and get it started like ASAP now that it's getting colder, instead of waiting until like December or the new year. And then if we don't spend like the 50 or whatever amount of money just to give the remainder back.
Jessica,
yeah.
I'll give you $50.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate
We
it.
we actually have extra paint and outdoor paint in our basement. You can have it.
Okay, I appreciate everybody who's able to
Make sure you
contribute.
see me, I'll give you $50 toward the repair.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Well, then that was it. We're gonna have a little food pantry out soon, and I'm really excited for everybody.
And
So,
just more information on people that are in need of food. I was going to Hanover, it was one day last week, but the church heading out of Jefferson before the ball field, there was a mobile unit there for people to come get stuff.
yeah, there's a lot of
So, and There's one in
resources.
Glen Rock too, the well, which will deliver to people.
Yeah,
They'll deliver to people if they need them.
Yeah,
So
there-
that's something you could throw out to the.
yeah,
to the
absolutely.
people.
I just know that there are a lot of kids and teens, and they don't have cars. So if they know they can just walk up to the church, which they do anyway to go to the little playground sometimes,
Right.
then, or
For
they
the
don't have
ones that
this.
need quantity of food.
Yeah.
there's plenty
Yeah,
out there that
absolutely.
They'll deliver to.
The
some will
the
deliver.
ones who need it regularly, I think, are on those programs, but it's always good to have something helpful there. So anyways, I just wanted to give you an update on that, and thank you, Meg, and everybody for your contributions. I appreciate it.
Next one, public comment.
Yes, sir. Okay. Hi, my name is Meg Fullerton, owner of Valley Tavern, 1 Cherry Street. I'll let you all get that in hand first. I hope I have enough.
Plenty. Feels it.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna try to lighten this meeting up a little bit. Too heavy. Anyway, Terry and I have decided, and the reason I'm here is all I want is like permission to advertise on the Facebook page and the website of the borough, because Terry and I have decided to sponsor a Christmas lighting contest for Seven Valleys Borough only. We would like to do this, just for fun within the borough only. Like I said, him and I, Terry and I, and oops, shit.
Oh
Can we put that in the minutes? Make that an official thing. Put that in the minutes. Meg knocked the lights out. Yeah, we're doing lighting. I'm not an electrician. Anyway, what we're gonna do, Terry and I and 2 random non-residents will ride around the borough on December 14th, starting at 6 o'clock. And anybody that has their lights on, Christmas lights, their decorations, will take pictures, and we'll decide by the next day who wins. And the pictures may be taken, and used as Valley Tavern discretion in regards to the contest and for advertising purposes. Advertising regarding details of the concert or of contest will be done on the official Facebook pages of the Valley Tavern and the borough, if you let me, or let somebody here. And then we'll announce the winners on our Facebook page, and we'll share it with the borough page, of course, and we'll give $100 for first place. Second place will be $75, and third would be $50. It's all just for fun. It's ours, or it's just like it's trial and error. Things that can be tweaked if it continues. It's not fun. Yeah. So, any questions? Is that cool? Is that cool?
I don't have Facebook, so.
Well, that's how we advertise. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure you could find out from somebody else. Yeah, I mean, we were going to notify you if you would win. Yeah, we would. That's the easiest way for us. So, any questions? Are we okay with that?
Comments, or we do it after public comments? We need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Bill to allow Valley Tavern to put this on the Facebook page and the website. Second by Gary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to thank you guys too. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but you guys have always been wonderful to work with, and I really, really appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thanks, you, Meg.
Thanks for your help with the trick or treating as well.
Oh, absolutely.
They've been doing that all the time.
Yes, that was fun. It always is.
All right. Next one, public comment. Okay.
Really?
Engineers report?
Yeah, just 2 quick things, informational at this point in time. The first one is email I received from our engineer regarding the curb and sidewalk project for Church Street. Of course, when we applied for this grant, costs had not skyrocketed as they have now. So it's going to be, he's projecting to be over budget by $60,000 to $80,000. So they have gone back to the York County Planning Commission to see if there's any additional block grant funding to help offset that cost. Of course, before we put out the bid, we'll know that answer. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. The second thing is There's no action or anything by council. They're looking into, and we're going to be checking with PennDOT at 62 Church Street, right on the corner with Park Street. There's a stone gravel driveway that runs parallel right tight up against Park Street. Part of it's paved, part of it's concrete. So they need to know how they're going to handle that with the curb and sidewalk project. So that's something they'll be looking at as well. So that's all from the engineer.
All right. Solicitor's report.
As I indicated earlier, we have nothing new at this time on this sewer mediation. They're trying to gather some additional information. And you'd like to listen.
I do. They updated the police information. This report is from June 1st, 2023 through September 30th. There were 5 crashes in the borough for motor vehicles, 1 in June, 1 in July, 3 in September, 6 citations were issued, 1 in June, 1 in July, 4 in September. Types of crash in July, there was the affected by physical condition, probably a medical incident. September, driving too fast for conditions, another one in September, improper driving actions. 2 crashes were non-reportable. The citations, 3 were issued to 26 to 30-year-olds, 2 were issued to 30 to 40-year-olds, and 1 was issued to a 40 to 50-year-old. Some of those citations, 2 of them were driving vehicle at an unsafe speed. That was the 26 to 30-year-olds in September. 1 driving on roadway lane for traffic in July, another 26 to 30-year-old. Maximum speed limits, that was September for the 30 to 40-year-old. And obedience to traffic control device, warning of hazardous conditions in September to a 40 to 50-year-old. Crime data, there were 3 criminal investigations in the borough, 2 in June, 1 in July. 1 criminal arrest in June. It was a reckless endangerment and firearm violation, and a nuisance, which was an indecent exposure in July.
Thank you.
It was my kid, you know.
All right, zoning and code enforcement.
Okay, you have a copy of the report that I gave you. We had 1 permit that was issued for the enclosure of a porch on an accessory building on Cherry Street. I did see there's a pending sale on 52 Main Street. There's 1 civil complaint that has not been paid, so I'm going to turn that over to the solicitor to move forward with the filing the lien. And I did have 2 inquiries. Actually, I received the application back tonight. 1 is for storage units for 71 Maple Street. So I did receive that application tonight. The other one was an inquiry regarding 10 and 12 Main Street, directly across the street here. From McGrew Equipment, inquiring about what the zoning was and so forth. And I did talk to Robin McGrew today, and she told me that they have settlement on 8, which is the small white house, as well as 10 and 12. They're going to be buying them. And if their plans come to fruition, they'll be demolishing those buildings and expanding their business. So.
That'll be in the borough.
Oh, and then,
That'll be in the borough then.
The 2 will be 10 and 12.
10 and 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
18 township. And my understanding is they're going to do a reverse subdivision to merge both of those lots to the larger tract. And then I'll just jump on the next thing. Just to let you know, I did provide you with the list. We sent out May 1st the letters regarding permanent fixtures of the mailboxes. They had until October 10th. Another letter went out giving them until November 10th. If they're not completed in compliance with the ordinance, we'll send out a 15-day notice, final notice, and then we'll file with the civil court if they don't follow through.
What, is it just gonna be Church Street?
Wherever there's a sidewalk, it's concrete. So it's Church and Main.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just Church.
May I ask a question on that? If they're on asphalt parking lot, does that differ? If you're saying
No,
they
it
need
has
to
to
be on
meet
concrete.
our ordinance says it has to meet the postal standards.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think if I remember correctly, postal standards say they can't be in milk cans, buckets, or.
And all this came to light with the block grant of Church Street.
Right. Yeah.
So is this for the ADA or is this for the mail?
Combination of both.
Combination of both.
Because some of the other problems, John, I think you had mentioned this once, but I know one or two other people have mentioned, I'm not aware of it happening on Main Street, but on Church Street, when there's snow plowing, they get tossed. And I know one person told me I spoke to that, I don't know what they had it sitting in, obviously wasn't fastened really well because the mailbox ended up out the street when there was a windstorm.
Okay.
So.
Can I add to that? How do you get permission to drill into somebody else's sidewalk or parking lot?
You have to talk to them.
How do you find their contact? If it's the Oregon place.
The only thing I can do
Drill
is if you
on
shoot me an email, I can pull up the tax record and give you their address.
Yeah.
At least may help you track down a phone number.
Okay, best case scenario, they said, yeah, please drill into my sidewalk. Worst case, they say no. So what do you do after that?
You're going to have to go find another neighbor or something. Because I think that's what some did
We
on
talked
Church
about,
Street.
yeah.
Yeah.
This was a deal 8 months ago when this all
Yeah,
started.
because there was one or two I know on Church Street that they didn't have permission, but a neighbor, maybe down the street a little further gave them permission.
So fines would be postponed until, as long as you're showing proof that you're trying to drill into someone's sidewalk and people are not giving you permission. Like how far can you go from your house before someone gives you permission to drill their sidewalk?
I don't know. Our ordinance doesn't address distances.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we'll just work on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, enforcement on this ordinance is through a civil non-traffic
Right.
citation.
Right.
I mean, criminal, not civil.
Oh, okay.
Remember, you're not in township. And again, I would certainly recommend.
Well, I'll make sure that's in the
Yeah,
notice.
I would certainly recommend that anybody who's making a good faith effort that we work with them should always do.
Oh, I agree, but they need to communicate.
Okay. I'll go with that.
Yep.
Fire company, nobody's here, correct? Anybody here from the fire company? I don't think so. All right, unfinished business.
Okay. I didn't know if you want to hold off until you do the budget.
Okay. The stop bar on Main Street.
I'm waiting. I have not heard anything back from PennDOT on that. College Avenue, Cherry Street signage. We're just waiting on Shrewsbury Township to get down here and do that.
They have the
Had a busy
signs,
month.
though.
They do have all the material.
Okay.
So I would anticipate that'll take place this month. As far as the streetlight addition, I did just today receive an email from, I know it was requested we look at, I think it was 140 watt.
Something like the next one up. or-
Yeah, they didn't give me anything back on that, but I did get something back. We currently have the 50 watt LED. And to replace that, the Cobra head and everything for 90 watt would be $1,600 per light. So if you did both, it'd be $3,200. So not that we have to make any decisions
Did they-
now, but something to think about.
Did they say when we signed the contract for that? Because it was a 10-year
That's been,
contract.
it was 10 years, almost 10 years ago.
Has
I
it
did
been?
find it. I did find it.
So, I mean, I know it's less than 10 years, but I
But
know we're
it's almost
drawing,
10.
we're drawing probably near 7 at least, I would imagine.
I think it's closer to that.
So I don't know, I mean, because I know the last time when we replaced them, they did them by signing a new 10-year contract, they did them all basically for free. So I don't know.
I'll verify what the date is of that.
Yeah.
term, but I
And
think
they're
it's-
saying,
I
we
think
have a 50?
that's what they're saying it is are.
I can, because I know we
Here at the
did
bridge. So there's some there.
Yeah, they're there. We were just looking to.
So
increase the
Wattage.
wattage, or lumens, or whatever you want to call them.
Anyway, that's information at this point.
all right. Any other unfinished business? New business. Yeah,
Just that. I'm just going to talk about the highlights of the budget. In the general fund, additional source of revenue when this building becomes the borough's will be $12,000 a year because WellSpan pays $1,000 per month. Interest, we budgeted $1,200 this past year. Rates have all gone up, as we all know, if you have money invested, so we're projecting that to be about $14,000. We are showing in the budget the stormwater grant, the ARPA grant that we applied for. We won't hear about until later this month, which was $42,500. That's to be used for the stormwater inlets on Church Street. If that does not come through, we are showing a transfer of the full ARPA funds that we did receive of $54,780 to be used in place of that. And we are required under federal law, we do have to spend that money by December 31st of 24. If we do get the other funding for it, then council will have to decide if they want to use that on roads or whatever. So, legal services increased, not because of his fees, but because of the
Mediation.
the mediation is going to be an additional cost to the borough. The secretary's salary and the zoning officer's wage does not change. It is remaining the same. We won't be paying office rent any longer as we did to Mr. Garland. We won't be contributing $2,800 a year to the Ambulance Association. Community activities, we've been spending $120 to $150 a year. The budget is proposing at this point in time $1,000 for next year. And it's also a line item added for the Spring Grove Regional Recreation Commission. We rounded it up to $3,700. And in the Highway Aid Fund, which is federal or state funding that we get through the gas tax. Real change here is we increased the signs and markers. We upped that from $500 to $4,500. I believe it's the parking spaces that are in good shape yet on the streets, but we're going to look at repainting the yellow curbs because they're very faded. So with that said, the projected fund balance in the general fund, December 31 of next year, is $458,560, and the projected highway aid fund is $9,829. So combined would be $468,389. So what council will be doing tonight is authorizing it to be advertised for consideration for adoption at the December meeting, and also to advertise it for a public inspection. So that's the action we would need tonight.
Questions on the budget? Anybody comment? Yep.
I had a lady talk to me, I wanted to know about how she would get to see the budget. Would you be able to post that at the post office, or is it on the website?
It will be on the website.
Okay, so I can tell her it's on the website.
Will it be on the website before it's approved? Are you talking
Yes,
about
because
reviewing
I'm
it this
talking about
month?
after it's approved.
Yeah, after, okay. I just want to be clear.
Yeah, after it's approved.
And also in the.
No, we have to put it up for public inspection before it's approved.
Oh, okay, however.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has to be a minimum of 20 days.
And in the advertisement, it says if you want to see the budget, and, to contact the secretary.
Yeah, you can email or call me.
You can get a hard copy if you can't go online.
But yeah, it will be advertised. It'll be on the website as well between now and.
Deb, do you want to take one with you to the person that's asked?
Yeah, I'd appreciate
Yep, you can have that one right there.
That's
As long as there's no, as long as there's no,
But I can't give it to her because I'll see her tomorrow.
yeah, and that's not official. That's the one you emailed.
Okay.
So approve that as your preliminary budget for advertising.
Just the the 12,000 in rent, just so that does not go technically right to the general fund, correct, Todd? That's going to a building fund.
Correct. We do not have a building fund at this point in time. When the property is transferred from the ambulance association to the borough, the ambulance association is also going to transfer their cash assets to the borough, which they would like to be put into a building fund to maintain the building, which is somewhere in the low $30,000 range. So I know council talked, and I believe the intent is that whatever we receive in rent goes into the building fund. And doesn't get spent on roads or whatever, but is used and put back into the building.
That's gonna be probably part of the court order,
Right.
because we have to sequester that money to make sure it remains with the purpose of this building.
Good point there, Doug.
Okay,
So
questions, comments on the budget?
So I move to preliminary pass this so we can advertise it and for voting for next month's meeting.
Motion by Bill. Second by John. All in favor? Opposed?
Second, I'm also gonna need approval to do the tax resolution to keep the millage the same. Also for adoption at the December meeting, assuming you keep the budget the same.
You'll need a motion for it then, or you need a
No.
motion now? Motion to keep the millage the same, keep the taxes the same for 2024. Motion by Deb,
Second.
second by Greg. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Again, that actually written up to approve the drafting of the resolution. We'll actually pass that next month also.
You want to go to the animals?
Yeah.
All right, the animal control contract. Everybody had a chance to look at that.
I think I had mentioned, I don't know if it was last month or during budget committee, that Klug wasn't sure they were gonna continue, but since that time, we did get a letter that there's gonna be some other folks picking up, so they will continue that animal control service. So yeah, that contract, and we tabled the SPCA last month until we knew what was happening here with Klug.
Questions, comments, motions? I think it's something we have to do, I believe, right? Or you don't have much. We need, right, there's not.
Not a lot of options there.
Looking to approve both of them at once or?
Probably individually.
Individually.
So did they turn their business over to someone else? Oh, okay. It's still.
With someone else, the co-owner. I'll make a motion, we approve the Klug animal control contract for 2024.
Motion by Greg, second by Deb. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The SPCA, I think everybody looked at this last month, and the reason that we tabled it was because we didn't know what was going on with Klug, so nothing changed with that.
And Klug did reference in there that they take animals to the SPCA.
So we have to approve that too.
And just for the public's safety, our annual contract fee to the SPCA is $342.
So can I ask a question, just briefly about Klug? Does he give a report? Does he give a public report on what he does or how many animals he captures or anything like that?
It's typically in his invoicing, but we haven't done anything for.
He's only an on-call basis when
Yeah.
somebody would call him, whether a borough resident would call him, whether the borough council sees an issue and would call. He does not, they do not drive around and just, they only come into the borough and invoice.
I didn't know how he
Yeah.
operated, so I
They
didn't-
only
I
come to
didn't
the
ask
borough and
questions.
invoice when they're asked to by a borough resident or
And the only
borough council.
report we would get from them would be in a set amount, the invoice. You could tell if it was one animal or two animals,
It tells you what
judging
they
by the
captured.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah, what they captured.
Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know how that
Yeah.
went with him. Okay,
So,
thank you. Sorry, I didn't.
No, no,
interrupt. I
no.
just-
So I'll take a motion to agree to the service agreement from the SPCA.
I will make a.
Motion by Gary, second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Snow removal.
All right, I sent out 4 requests for proposals, local companies, Hirsch Concepts, Immaculate Grounds, Russo's Lawn and Landscaping, and Valley Landworks. Immaculate Grounds and Valley Landworks did not respond. Hirsch Concepts for plowing is 85 per hour. Russo's was 130. Salt per ton, Hirsch $145. Russo's 175. Front loader, 110 for Hirsch, 250 for Russo's, and 96 for dump truck for Hirsch, and 250 for Russo's. So Hirsch is the lowest in all those, so just need a motion. to-
One question about that, I'm sorry. Will he do this building then too?
Yeah, because that was actually in.
And how, because I know sometimes we're not his first priority. Do
I
we,
wouldn't be surprised if Wellspan guys are gonna do it.
well, I know that was part of one of the agreements that I thought wasn't, snow removal was not included. The parking lot snow removal was not included in the agreement. I thought they were just taking care of the sidewalk, so I don't know if that, if our, and I know our but.
Here's the email I sent to all the bidders. I just put, 7 Eyes Borough seeking proposal to remove and apply salt anti-skid when warranted for the 23-24 winter season. Attaches a map that identifies the borough's streets to be included in the proposal. Note that this year the borough will own the former Tri-Community Ambulance Building, which also houses Wellspan EMS, and that parking lot is now included in the snow removal this season. The parking lot will need to be a priority because it serves as a local ambulance service for our area. So they were aware of it.
Okay, I guess Wellspan will contact us if they need something or they'll have. Okay, no, that's all. All right, I have.
I have a question real quick. Is there, like, with these different companies, do they like have like a priority list? Like, oh, it snowed in Seven Valleys and Glen Rock, like, we're gonna go to Glen Rock first? Or like, do they just go wherever they need to be?
I don't know. They don't give us what their priority list is or whatever, but I think this is the same Hirsch as the one that's been doing it. I
Okay,
think he's
it
always
just, it
been
hasn't
pretty
snowed since I've been
responsive.
here, so I don't know.
Wow.
That's true.
And they are very too, just so everybody knows, he is, a small operation, so he is prone to breakdowns as well. I know the one weekend storm we had a couple years ago, it took him 2 days to get to the borough because he had plenty of breakdowns and,
So I just wonder, I know there's one that's cheaper, but if it means that it's our residents need to like wait an extra day, or will our last one's plowed out in the area, is it worth it to go, 150 cheaper?
I don't think we're ever the last one, I can tell you that.
I think the other thing to remember is that Church Street and Main Street are both state roads. So those are all plowed by the state on their schedule.
What about like Cherry?
Cherry is, right, I understand that. And so I think sometimes Herschel's in the past, he has come very early,
Yes.
even while it's still, and he will take off, and then he will come back later and do the rest, and do it again.
Okay.
So it's not that he just comes once and doesn't come back
Okay.
in again.
I wouldn't normally like interject like this, but since you guys were like voting, I just wanted to state a concern first.
And like everybody says, he's been the same rate for the last number of years that I know. And there's only been a couple instances where I would say somebody would have to make a phone call to him and say, hey, can you come back to the borough and clean this up, or where are you at, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Only a very select few instances of that.
Okay.
And if there's a problem,
Yeah.
you don't call her, you call
Todd.
Todd, and Todd will contact you.
Okay.
I have a question. So when we've done our sidewalks and everything, is he the one doing this little side roads?
Yep.
He's doing only borough streets. So PennDOT takes
Because
care
we're
of
on
me and
Church.
Church.
So when
PennDOT
he comes
takes,
down off that hill and pushes it on my sidewalk.
that's PennDOT though.
No,
it's not.
What?
Straight across.
She
What
just
did you
comes
say?
straight across to her house.
Oh.
Right down from.
Straight
I'm
up
sorry.
when he
I
dumps the
got you.
snow, he
Yeah.
brings it around and.
I got you. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was there. We were talking about Park Street.
Yeah, I think it
Schaefer,
starts at
Schaefer.
Park.
Yeah, I got you. Sorry,
I've
I
talked to
didn't.
him about that. a couple of times. I don't know if it's just your house, but when he comes out from also whatever that.
Mason.
Park Street, Park, well,
Come down.
Park is where I
Mason,
usually go up and
Mason.
around, and that's where I
Schaefer's
see
where
him.
she's talking,
But
So Todd, you might want to give him a reminder. I know it's hard for him because if he's coming out, he's got to put it someplace.
He can leave it in the parking spots. He doesn't have to push it all the way up on a sidewalk that already was shoveled.
If you put it in your parking lot, then
State's
the
gonna
state
do that.
comes through.
Yeah, the state will not go on.
I don't know.
No, I've usually,
You're on a no
I haven't
vote.
had to have my
Yep.
car off the road yet. I'm just saying.
Yep.
If that spot's empty, he just pushes it over there.
But it sounds like you guys have good communications with them.
yeah,
So if there's any issues, call Todd and then Todd
Yeah.
will call them.
I mean, we took video of that year, first year, I like, he's just pushing this on the side.
Just keep Todd calling.
all right. Motion by John to go with Hirsch,
First time.
second by Deb, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Children's Toy Drive, Valley Tavern.
Next thing is just informational. We did have it in the newsletter as a reminder. I think if I remember, November 9th.
Yeah, and just so you all know too, in the borough, we go halfers for Halloween. The check that they gave me tonight goes to the toy drive. We don't take it back and put it in the business. You're welcome. I've always done that, ever since we started this whole gig. I appreciate it. So does the Layman Center.
The trash can at college and church.
Yeah, I think I forwarded to you an email. I know that's not always getting emptied. Penn Waste did get back to me and they want to just put a regular toter there. Just because of being a metal 55-gallon drum, sometimes it's a little heavy for them to lift and they don't have the truck capabilities. They won't have any issues with that.
Yeah.
Only concern is when it's windy and
Where's it gonna go?
where's it gonna go? But
Or if somebody breaks theirs.
yeah.
So do we have to,
We could try it, I guess.
do we have to move the trash can?
We will.
Can they just
Can,
take it?
can Tyler?
Well, I can ask them if they can take
Can they
it.
just take the trash
We can do
can?
those
Okay.
in large bulk.
Everybody's all right with that?
Okay.
Is it
That
metal?
bad a shape?
It's metal, Mark.
Oh,
Maybe the trash can will be gone.
Yeah.
It's little.
Tyler or Mark will
Probably
take
has a
it.
Boy Scout
All right.
sticker on it.
Pen waste rate increase.
Everybody got a copy of the notice that we received from Penn Waste?
I think I missed that. Okay, I'm sorry.
York County Solid Waste Authority, York Incinerator, they increased their tipping fees by $7 a ton. And based on our tonnage, that comes out an increase of $7.18 per customer per year.
How about the recycle, Todd? Is staying the same? That portion of it?
That's all built into it.
Okay.
So you'll see, I guess you're billed every 6 months,
Every three.
every 3, okay. So that 718 will be broken out into, yeah. So you'll see less than $2.
Can you email that again
Mhm.
to the Borough Council and myself? Because I missed that or I did not see it, just so I have it for my record.
Okay.
We need to go anything with that, or is that gonna be next month after the budget?
Yeah, that's what the, I guess it's up to council. If you're going to pursue it, you could at least authorize the solicitor to review the agreement for the Springer Regional Parks and Rec Commission.
Yep, and then
And then,
the budget being out for this month.
yeah,
Take
then
comments
you
on that.
consider,
I like that.
further action next month.
I like that.
Need a motion.
I would do it by motion.
For the solicitor.
I'd like that.
Just to review.
Yep, have a motion to have the solicitor take a look at the agreement for the Spring River Parks and Rec. And then for us to take a look at putting that on a committee for the reorganization meeting in January to form a committee.
Motion by Bill,
Second.
second by Greg. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, appreciate your advice.
I circled it in the back. All right, treasurer's report.
I have something under new business yet.
Oh, I'm really sorry, Cheryl.
I had brought up at the draft, when we drafted the budget, about, the CDBG grant, which we have to make application in January for the year 2024 to 2027. And I didn't know if there are any projects that the Borough Council wanted to consider so that we can notify the person that needs to make the application to the York County Planning Commission. Maybe we don't have any other projects, I don't know.
When does that grant need to be submitted by?
I think it's January, I'm gonna say 15. So we need to.
I would say give some thought till next month. I'll put it on the agenda, but I know one thing that was tossed around was if there's no bricks and mortar projects, curb and sidewalk projects, is possibly applying through their planning portion for revisiting and updating the comprehensive plan, because that needs to be done first before you're supposed to do that before you update the zoning ordinance. So I'm thinking maybe you could apply for 24 to update the comprehensive plan, and then 26 for the zoning ordinance. But just something to think about. So everybody come back with their ideas for December.
And just so everybody knows, what was your estimated cost when I remember somebody saying there was an estimated cost of, it was tens of thousands to update both plans, correct?
Oh, it will be for both, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's not a cheap proposition, but something that's probably needs looked at.
I'm working on one now. Now that's a multi-municipality one, and it's 90,000.
So it might be a good idea.
Did you send an RFP out for that, or how did you get that number to apply for the grant?
Generally, just reach out to, I would probably reach out to my contact at CS Davidson to give us an estimate. Yeah, civil engineer, yeah. They can give us a good estimate for application number.
Well, and also if you want to apply for a decent grant, it's helpful to have the comprehensive plan updated.
Yeah.
Which I did also want to bring up, this isn't an item for voting, but just so people know that they're going to have a virtual grant workshop for DCNR for recreation and conservation projects on November 16th at 9 o'clock. It's a free virtual workshop. You just need to have the contact here if you want to register to find out any more information about those groups. That's all.
You sure?
Well, one thing, this is a comment again, is when we were talking about making the sewer minutes on the website, I have them all as sewer minutes on my old website from years ago. But I'm concerned that on that report, we also have a list of delinquent people with their names, their property address, and how much money they owe. And I didn't know if we should be putting that information out to the public or not.
You can just redact it.
Yeah.
Just white it out.
I'm just saying that would need to be done. Is there anything else that would need to be taken off there if we decide to post them, like?
I think just the minutes would be enough. But if anybody wants any other additional information, they can get it from the sewer authority. This is for informational purposes primarily. I believe that's what should be there.
Would we then put out the full, the minutes don't include the financial report of the whole sewer authority, those big spreadsheets.
Well, I think that's up to council as to how much information they want to put on it. I do know that, and I'm glad you brought that up about the delinquents, because I know York Township got in trouble a number of years ago because they published delinquents in their newsletter. I think it was a good idea. Cut down on the number of delinquents, but, you know, it was something that somebody challenged it. I forget why they did it, but I would agree with that. But then, other than that, it's up to the council how much, I mean, again, remember, these are things that the authority should have available. It's up to council how much you want to put on your website for information.
Are you gonna put this month's on a while?
I'll put at least, do you want me to just put the minutes on for right now?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Everybody's agreeable with that.
Okay, I'll at least put the minutes on. Then you can decide if you want to add other things.
Anything else under new business? Treasurer's report.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought I'm ready to talk.
No, no, I can talk. Is there any questions on anything? And is there any comments, Todd? Anything out of the ordinary?
No, I just wanted to follow up a little bit. Just quickly, Cheryl mentioned last month about the interest rates and so forth with Pliget. You know, People's Bank, we're getting, you know, less than 1%, so that's why we don't have too much money in there. But with Pliget, the last statements, we were getting 5.52%, on the one account, 5.16. So Pliget does have its benefits.
Do you have a copy of it? I don't have it right here. Did you fix that other one?
Yes.
The one for
The duplicates, yes.
your current
Yep.
income?
Yep.
You fixed that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, did you get that? It was emailed.
Yeah, I thought the one you fixed the one, but.
Yeah.
no,
Yep, they're
something
both-
different. Let me see.
Here. Don't you believe me, Cheryl?
Oh, you say you did you? I expected you to at least, you know, send back. and
I'm
say,
taking my word. That's all.
All right, any other questions or comments on the treasurer's report? If not, I will take a motion to approve, accept, and file statement for audit and any other regular bills that may come in over the next month.
So moved.
Motion by Bill, second by Gary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, liquid fuels.
That's just FYI, I think I emailed them, get the liquid fuels report. That was Pennsylvania Auditor General's office. They come out every so many years. So this was for January 1 of 20 through December 31 of 22. They did their liquid fuels audit and everything was fine. They didn't have any findings. So it's just informational.
Okay. Anything under treasure, anything else under treasurer's?
No.
All right, secretary's report.
Okay, a couple of things, try to make this quick. Just want to think ahead, and we don't need to answer this tonight, but I'll put it on the agenda for next month because I'll have to have the calendar for you to approve for me to advertise in December. But all municipalities are required to reorganize the first Monday of January. However, if it falls on a holiday, it's that next day, so it'll be Tuesday, January 2nd. So as you all know, I work at another municipality full-time, and I'm gonna have to be at that meeting. So I had mentioned to a couple of folks, I don't know how council feels, if you want to meet earlier, like 5 or 5:30, and simply just get the reorganizational, because that's all we're required to do. You know, where you select a president, vice president, you know, all those types of things. So it's relatively short meeting. And then resume and have our regular meeting Thursday the 4th, like we normally would with a holiday.
So
Again,
that's-
you don't need to answer that now, but
So that's scheduled for the 4th, not the 8th.
I'm not available.
yeah, we typically have been doing them on a Thursday. And again, I don't know if you want to think about it, that's fine. I'll put together a tentative calendar and you can fine tune it. I'll have it on the agenda for next month.
Will we have By next month, will we have who is gonna be on council going in, or who is gonna be?
Yeah, we'll know, should know
And then we can schedule with
Wednesday.
those people and make
Wednesday.
a time accordingly with
Mhm.
whoever. Let's do that.
Yeah, that's why I say we'll just, put together a tentative calendar.
So I guess we need to have somebody who would swear them to the oath of office.
I can do that. I can do that too.
Yeah, you can do it.
I can do it, because I'm not up for election this year. I mean, either or, it
And we
doesn't.
also need to have the proof of residency. and all that.
Yeah.
That's January, that's not December, right?
Yeah.
Let's get a date for the time first.
All right, next item, service awards. I didn't look at the, service schedule yet for everybody, but if you know that you're due for a 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35-year award, let me know.
I have the paper all written out. I'll be happy to send it in.
Okay.
For both Doug and Zach. for
Okay.
10 years.
Yeah, if you want to send, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Oh. I thought you were the only one.
Cheryl, just for the minutes, what number of years? 10 for both.
Dave is on.
Okay. All right. Work hours. I just want to get in the minutes that my official work day is Thursdays. And the only reason I want to note that has to do with right to know requests. Because under state law, when you receive a right to know request, you have to respond within 5 business days. And I do my best. I'm not gonna drag it out forever, but if I get really swamped, I don't want people expecting me to turn it in on Monday and think it's gonna be back on Friday, because it goes by business days. And since I work about 5 hours a week, I decided my work day is going to be Thursday. I'm still going to answer emails in between and phone calls and everything else. But the main reason I'm establishing that day is to do with right to know requests, just so that there's no misunderstanding. Any questions on that? Council okay with that? Okay. And then the other thing I just want to mention, next month, York County Planning Commission, the Transportation Department is going to be here to do a brief presentation regarding the intersection here that's actually located in North Cadorce Township. They just want to share they did a study, and you have 4 or 5 concepts for improving that intersection. Based on what I'm hearing, it probably looks like the most viable one is going to be probably a roundabout.
Under the under the flood, they use 40 years, they're gonna spread that out in 2 years.
I don't know about that.
Yes.
So anyway, it'll be here next. Yeah, it's gonna be a council meeting. Right? Yeah, so it is a public meeting.
All right, mayor's report.
Just recap of Halloween. Thank you to Bill for coming down and helping. Thank you to Valley Tavern. Thank you to their kitchen supervisor, Billy, who came in, worked on his day off and helped us. I would say we had 150 people through in about an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Until about 7:30, 7:45.
It was definitely more active this year than it
Yes.
was in the last couple.
So,
It's good to see.
thank you to everybody there. Thank you for the borough and the residents that came out and participated. I also, this past Saturday, I went to Shrewsbury Township's open house of their new building. Was able to, take in, a spectacular new building that they have, and was able to view all the things that they can provide to the borough and what they do for the borough as far as maintenance wise and the capabilities, and congratulations to them. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Thank you. 3 liens, that stayed the same. 6 EDUs, that stayed the same. And any comments on the report from sewer?
I didn't see anything unusual this month. Again, just keep an eye on the expenses.
Okay, Todd, do you have anything?
No.
Mike?
No.
Cheryl?
No.
Deb?
Yeah, I do. I want to tell you that, I went with Brandon, Jessica, Sean, and myself. I walked this whole borough with while we campaigned. And it was really nice to hear what the people had to say. Some of them we didn't get to because they weren't home. Some that they talked to us, and it was really interesting to know what their comments are. And for 2024, all I'm asking is that we, the members of council, need to listen to the people and do what they want. And I will tell you another thing, I was upset when I got that newsletter, and I'm going back to this letter, because I'm sure some of you probably knew this was coming out. I was upset that I'm part of council and I did not know this. I feel as though if there was people on here that knew it was coming out, they should have told me. I'm part of this council. I'm part of all of you. I know maybe some of you don't like me, but I like every one of you. If you fell over my sidewalk, I'd call the ambulance for you, okay? But I'm telling you that we need to listen to the people and what they want, because I walked this town. I walked up the hill to the cemetery. We did a wonderful job campaigning, and we need to start listening to people. Not what they want. I mean, what they want, not what we want. We need to listen to them, seriously. You know, because this town can go places, but I was offended when that letter came out with the newsletter, and I'm part of this council, and I did not know that, because I'm sure some of you knew it was coming out. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Gary?
Should have said something on new business, just something to think about. I had a couple of people ask me when our burn day is, the third Saturday. If we could kind of work on maybe an alternate day. There were some people that, it rained that day, it's windy that day. Next month comes along, we rain 2 days, now I can't burn anything at all. And there was several people, I know the guy that was doing the remodeling up here, he couldn't get his stuff taken care of, and we were kind of on him to clean things up. He was one of the persons, and, just something to think about what we can do if we can add a day. Sunday would be no, couldn't do Sunday, maybe the following Saturday. One Saturday don't work, what we would have to do to maybe say the fourth Saturday, weather's permitting. I'm sure we'd have to write something in an ordinance to do that. But just nothing needs to be done tonight, just something to think about, that there's a couple people that have places on their lot that they can get rid of stuff, don't have the access to haul it away. And have an option to have two burn days rather than one, if one doesn't suit. Don't think about it. That's it.
John?
Well, thank everybody for coming out tonight, and thank Brandon and Jessica for their ideas on the food bank. Brandon's ideas about, getting some events here started for Seven Valleys, maybe a carnival, some ice cream socials or whatever. And I think it's good stuff, and they get people involved and things like that. So, thank you.
Greg?
I got a question. When Tri-Community folded, it was word that WellSpan was going to have a membership drive. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm sure a lot of you have gotten memberships from Jacobus in the mail. You didn't? I
had to actually call Wells.
Well, I got one from Jacobus. So Jacobus is actually trying to, get people at Seven Valleys to sign up for memberships for them, since, they respond half the time. So where does it stand with WellSpan? Do you know, Todd?
No, I'll follow up with them, because if I remember correctly, Tri-Communities ran September 1st through the end of August. And I remember WellSpan saying they were going to be July 1st to June 30th, so that they would probably go out early. But if you haven't gotten them by now.
I got one.
Yeah. From
WellSpan?
I have
You did?
to call. I had to call.
I got
I
one
didn't
from
get
WellSpan.
I didn't get it from WellSpan.
I think
I got one
Deb's
from
trying to say
Jacobus.
something. She called him.
Okay, I
Yeah.
called Jacobus. I got the membership thing, and I called him. I said, why am I getting one? I live in Seven Valleys, okay? And I know this to be true, because this just happened a couple weeks ago to somebody that lives in Seven Valleys. The reason they're asking us to join them, because I called them, they said is because they're telling me, now unless they're fibbing to me, they told me we only have EMTs here. They said they have paramedics, and they said that if you're gonna have a heart attack, or you're having a stroke, or whatever, and this is what the guy told me from Jacobus Ambulance, he said they would have to come to the house. He would have 2 ambulances, okay? I know this to be true because somebody in Seven Valley that happened to. They had to call the ambulance for their husband. Wellspan came, and so did Jacobus, because his situation, they needed a paramedic. And that's why Jacobus, according to the guy, is sending us memberships, is because that way you're gonna get, like, for example, that lady, they're probably gonna get one hefty bill for paramedics, okay? But that's why Jacobus is trying to tell us to join, because if we have to have a paramedic come, then we're not gonna have to fork out that big bill. Now, that's only what the guy told me when I called Jacobus.
Well, I think
Now, you can check
Wellspan does
it.
only have EMTs here.
Yes,
I
that's
know
what he
that.
told me. He
Uh,
said, that's.
And there was, when Tri-Community was here, they all had reciprocal agreements.
Right.
So if Jacobus came in here and you had a Tri-Community membership, they honored that,
Right,
and
right,
vice versa.
right.
That's not happening with Wellspan.
No, according to what I checked into.
So
I got
as far as the
membership.
paramedic, yeah, that might make some sense, but,
I mean, that's what he told me, because so why live in Seven Valley, why are you sending me one? He said, because if you need a paramedic, they'd have 2 ambulances your house.
It has to do with the first due when you call dispatch. It has to first due and the chief
Yeah,
complaint.
and they did, Wellspan came to this person's house, but then Jacobus came, so this lady said, we're probably gonna get a hefty bill, so she since joined. When I got my membership, I joined right away, because I thought that, but it don't go into effect till 2024. But I thought I'm joining because I never know what I'm gonna need.
well, the other thing that easily and will happen, it happened to me Friday night.
Right.
Needed an ambulance at the house, and Wellspan was already out. So they had to go second due, which is Jacobus.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's who came.
But I just know that to be because I called.
Todd,
Thank you for
does
calling,
Jacobus
Jeff.
have an
Thanks
advanced,
for calling, Jeff.
advanced life support over there too? Do they have a regular ambulance plus advanced life support stage there?
Yeah, that's ALS over at Jacobus.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that would, I mean, that would be come out regardless, like if they send
Right,
out their
but I
regular
think-
ambulance
yeah.
and them also? They send
No,
both?
what
or
I
just
think
one?
what Deb's saying, and I understand, makes sense. If you're on a cardiac arrest, they're gonna dispatch Wellspan here if it's the closest in the
Okay.
first due area. But they're also gonna dispatch the nearest advanced life support, which is
Right.
going to be Jacobus. So you're gonna get a bill from Wellspan,
And one-
but you're also gonna get a bill from Jacobus.
So it won't be as high.
Whereas in the past, with Tri-Community, they did joint billing and they reciprocated memberships, and that's not gonna be the case anymore. So, I mean, you do run that risk that you could have Jacobus come in and you'll get a
I
bill.
know when my granddaughter had her
So you gotta have 2
brain
memberships.
injury when she was 6, they went and they took and they went to
If,
children.
yeah, if you're gonna gamble whether or not you need life support or ALS.
They typically base that off of the call from dispatch. If you call dispatch, I've been an EMT for more than a decade.
Right, I know.
When the
'cause they have
911 call
box.
comes into, when the 911 call comes into dispatch,
Right.
you tell them, they immediately ask what's the chief complaint. If there's anything that has to do with heart, lungs, or missing appendages, they immediately send a paramedic. Immediately. So Wellspan will not be dispatched first. Jacobus will be dispatched first because they will immediately send a paramedic. They won't
Well, they'll
send
dispatch
BLS.
both.
They won't send BLS before they send ALS if the
They
chief
get
complaint.
dispatched together.
Yeah.
They
They
can,
do.
however,
Well, that's how York does it.
most ALS, if it's an ALS call, they will not dispatch BLS first. They will not dispatch BLS if it's an ALS call initially. They will, if I called and said, this man just fell on the floor, he's having chest pains and a hard time breathing, that's BLS. If I say this man is unconscious and is not breathing, that's ALS. They will not dispatch a BLS unit for an ALS call.
When did they
Primarily.
change that?
Hmm?
When did they change
About
that?
7 years ago.
Not in York
That's not
County?
true.
That's not true in York
That's not
County.
true.
They send the closest ambulance first and
Yeah.
also with the ALS.
As long as
then you go at the
Typically,
same time.
ALS and BLS are together, because it's a single paramedic and 2 BLS providers at a station.
And it depends on the station. The ALS doesn't always have an ambulance for transport. That's
They
why you
typically
do
have
the-
their own service vehicle.
And not only that, they're not always available.
Paramedics typically have their own vehicle.
All I can tell you is I know how it worked with Tri-Community, and they would advance, but
I know how they
do both.
work for them.
You know, if Jacoby's is out with their paramedics, they'll send somebody from Redline or something. Well, they ain't gonna wait for them.
All right, anything else, Greg? Bill?
Nothing.
Doug?
No, sir.
All right, we'll open back up for public comment.
Oh,
Oh, I do have something quick. I think it says on the agenda that our next meeting is Monday,
Yeah.
December 1st.
Yep,
It's 4th.
correct. That's after public comment.
Okay.
It's on, yeah. Any other
Does
public
your
comment?
insurance go down since you don't have to pay for the ambulance?
It will, as soon as it's officially disbanded. They can't
Of course,
officially
you have more
disband
insurance, I
until.
guess, with the building.
Yeah, they're still carrying insurance on the building, and until they officially disband, we have to carry workers' comp. Fortunately, it's not a high number right now, because it's based on payroll.
And on the agenda where it says December 1st, the meeting will be December 4th. That is a typo. Everybody got that?
Trying to think.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
So your old man used to run this company. Why didn't you ever get in?